Port-au-Prince as the besieged Prime Minister Ariel Henry was in Kenya signing an agreement allowing police deployment. And a Nigerian designer seeks to challenge norms with gender-fluid fashion. World of Africa, at these times, only on WION. World is One.
Hello and welcome. I'm Ananya Datta. I'm back with another edition of Race to Power, your daily dose of elections and politics. Here's what we have lined up for you tonight. In India, Bengal has become a new hotbed of politics rivalry. Will they flip to blue? That's the question we are asking tonight. Our top focus today: in India's race to power, the storm of Sandesh Khali is sweeping the battleground of West Bengal. Now, Sandesh Khali is where the ruling TMC party is facing political heat with women, the region party leaders with rape, exploitation and loot. And after Prime Minister Modi's addressed a public rally in Barasat on Wednesday, Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee called for a huge rally in Kolkata on 10th of March. She appealed to the people of state to gather in large numbers in the region after women accused now suspended TMC leader Sheikh Shah Jahan of capturing land by force and sexually harassing them. Shah Jahan was later arrested and expelled by the TMC. The BJP seems keen on keeping the Sandesh Khali issue alive as it heads to polls, while the Trinamool Congress is refusing to step back. But Mamta Banerjee's response is only the tip of the iceberg. There appears to be no end to the Sandesh Khali showdown, at least as of now. Just on Thursday afternoon, the West Bengal police stopped BJP women leaders in Kolkata as they were heading towards Sandesh Khali. They were led by party state general secretaries, and the leaders held a sit-in demonstrations at the site. After a scuffle with the police, the team was detained.
Rohingyas are the vote bank of Mamta Banerjee. Nationalist Muslims and Hindus of the state will not vote for her. Criminals like Sheikh Shah Jahan are helping Rohingyas enter West Bengal.
On Wednesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi fired bombs at the Trinamool Congress over the raging Sandesh Khali issue that we just discussed. He warned that the storm of Sandesh Khali will reach every part of West Bengal. Now, a day later, Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee has hit back. She led a rally of women supporters in Kolkata on Thursday. And not only this, she said, and I'm quoting here, yesterday BJP leaders said that women are tortured in Bengal. I can challenge that. Women are the safest in Bengal. The Bengal Chief Minister also targeted the Prime Minister over the Manipur and Hathras gang rape incidents. Listen in to this war of words.
संदेश खाली में जो कुछ भी हुआ, उससे किसी का भी सिर शर्म से झुक जाएगा। लेकिन यहां की टीएमसी सरकार को आपके दुख से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। टीएमसी सरकार बंगाल की महिलाओं के गुनहगार को बचाने के लिए पूरी शक्ति लगा रही है। लेकिन पहले हाई कोर्ट और फिर सुप्रीम कोर्ट से भी राज्य सरकार को झटका लगा है।
মণিপুরে যখন মহিলারা জ্বলছিল আর নেপেক প্যারেড হচ্ছিল, कोথায় ছিলেন বিজেপি নেতারা? क्या पिंटू बाबू इतना गुस्सा क्यों है? জিজ্ঞেস করুন, হাতরাস যখন চলছিল আপনারা কোথায় ছিলেন?
देश की महिलाएं आक्रोश में है। नारी शक्ति के आक्रोश का ये ज्वार संदेश खाली तक ही सीमित नहीं रहने वाला। संपूर्ण बांग्लाते संदेश खालीर जड़ उठबे।
কালকে বিজেপি নেতারা বলে গেলেন এখানে নাকি মহিলারা সবচেয়ে বেশি নির্যাতিত হন। আমি চ্যালেঞ্জ করে বলছি, বেঙ্গল ইজ দ্য অনলি প্লেস যেখানে মহিলারা সেফ এবং সোফিস্টিকেটেড।
The Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra is entering the western state of Gujarat. The flagship Congress campaign march is now in its final leg. The state of Gujarat has been a stronghold of the Bharatiya Janata Party for decades now. In 2019, the BJP won all of the 26 Lok Sabha seats from the state, crushing the Congress party's revival hopes. Now, the Congress does not seem well positioned this time as well. As Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra enters Gujarat, it will be received by a Congress reeling under a series of jolts. Over the past few days, 2 Congress lawmakers in the State Assembly, including veteran Arjun Modwadia, have quit the party. The departures come at a time when the Congress is still to recover from the 2022 Assembly results, which saw its worst ever performance in a state that it dominated till the year 1995. Rahul Gandhi is spending about 3 days in Gujarat. The Nyaya Yatra is entering through Jalore in the Dahod district and travelling about 400 kilometers up to Songar before entering Maharashtra on March 10th. In the first leg of his Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra, the Congress president has drawn much flack for skipping Gujarat, despite the march coinciding with the 2022 assembly elections in the state. In the state assembly elections that followed, the BJP got 53.33% of the total votes. The Congress and Aam Aadmi Party together won nearly 40%. The two parties, who are partners in the India Alliance, have reached an agreement for Gujarat. Under the deal, the Aam Aadmi Party will contest on 2 out of 26 Lok Sabha seats, with Congress contesting on the rest. The AAP is also planning to join Rahul Gandhi's Yatra in Gujarat. Now, both US President Joe Biden and his presidential rival Donald Trump are scrambling to win over the supporters of Nikki Haley. Remember, Haley quit the Republican race this week, freeing an electorate that could be crucial to sending either Trump or Biden back to the White House. But how exactly are presidential rivals planning to tap into this electorate? We decode.
U.S. President Joe Biden on Wednesday appealed to voters who supported Nikki Haley in the Republican primaries to back him, a Democrat, after she quit the race, setting up a historic rematch between Biden and Donald Trump in the November election.
There's never been anything so conclusive.
In a statement, Biden said Donald Trump made it clear he doesn't want Nikki Haley supporters, adding, quote, "I want to be clear. There is a place for them in my campaign."
Chaos follows him.
Haley, who served as Trump's UN ambassador, had tried to distance herself from her former boss without alienating too many Republican voters. Biden said Haley was willing to speak the truth about Trump and acknowledge, quote, his inability to see right from wrong, adding, quote, "I know there is a lot we won't agree on, but on the fundamental issues of preserving American democracy, on standing up for the rule of law, on treating each other with decency and dignity and respect, on preserving NATO and standing up to America's adversaries, I hope and believe we can find common ground."
The President of the United States.
Biden is hoping to use his State of the Union address to Congress on Thursday to draw a stark contrast between himself and Trump and their vision for America. He then heads to the battleground states of Pennsylvania on Friday and Georgia on Saturday to kick off the general election campaign in earnest.
Shifting focus to China now, where details are emerging about the division of power among the so-called Gang of Three. The current Gang of Three in the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China includes Xi Jinping and two members of the CCP's Politburo Standing Committee, Li Qiang and Cai Chi. But after closely observing the results of the two Communist Party sessions this week, commentators say that Premier Li Qiang has been further sidelined in decision-making. Now, Li is in charge of economic decisions-making, and he has also been at the high table of the Communist Party for years. But after China's unimpressive economic recovery post-pandemic, he is now being sidelined for the extremely low-profile Cai Chi. Observers say that Xi and the second-in-command Li and the fifth-ranker Cai are the Gang of Three in the Central Committee of the Communist Party. Analysts also believe that the status of the State Council presided over by Li Qiang has been downgraded. It is also being interpreted that Li Qiang's signal of obeying Xi's orders will be more pronounced in the future. As the de facto head of government, the Chinese Prime Minister had been given economic decision-making power. But now, after a decade-long rule of Xi Jinping, observers say that the Prime Minister is completely subordinate to China's top leader. The most surprising outcome of the session was that the National People's Congress cancelled Premier Li Qiang's domestic and foreign press conferences. And this comes as a breakaway from a more than 3-decade-long tradition. Now, Portuguese people will cast their ballots on Sunday in a snap election. The new vote was triggered by socialist leader Antonio Costa's resignation just last November as Prime Minister over a corruption probe. Now, the incumbent Socialist Party has been in power since the year 2015. Though Costa was not accused of any crime, economist Pedro Nuno Santos took over as the party's new leader after he resigned. Santos has described himself as a quote-unquote cobbler's grandson and a son of a businessman to align himself with both the workers and businesses.
We are very confident. The reactions we have had in recent days have been extraordinary. The support for our campaign has been fabulous. It's been growing, and that's why it gives us a lot of confidence about what can happen on March 10th.
Santos is contesting against the newly formed alliance led by its traditional rival, the Social Democratic Party, or the PSD, and two conservative parties. The PSD's Luis Montenegro is leading the coalition. The coalition is promising tax cuts for the middle class and companies.
My goal is to give Portugal a new government, to provide a different path to the Portuguese, provide a country with more economic growth, with the capacity to pay better wages, attract more investment, and simultaneously can take care of public services, which are all in high state of decay.
Montenegro struck a deal with the more conservative parties to contain the fast rise of the far-right party, Chega, and that could become a kingmaker in a new parliament created just 5 years ago. The populist anti-establishment Chega became the third largest parliamentary force in the 2022 election. With 7% vote, opinion polls show that it could almost triple its vote share this time. Its leader, André Ventura, made his name as a TV sports commentator. His Chega party advocates tougher sentences for criminals, including chemical castration for repeat rapists. It also calls for an end to Portugal's quote-unquote open-door immigration policy. The far-right party has accused the traditional parties of perpetuating corruption.
If there is a right-wing majority, Chega will be available to build this alternative if others say they will not. They will have to take on this responsibility.
Corruption is only one of the many concerns for the Portuguese ahead of the crucial vote. Inflation, growing housing crisis, challenged public services such as education and healthcare are some of the key issues dominating these elections. Portugal is also one of Western Europe's poorest countries. Now, thousands of people have taken to the streets across Colombia's biggest cities. They're protesting the political, economic and social reforms backed by President Gustavo Petro. The protesters are also demanding action against the deteriorating security. Demonstrators in the capital of Bogota chanted, "No more Petro" and "Petro out," as they were marching with flags and placards with slogans criticizing the president. The protests, which were peaceful, also took place in cities like Medellin and Cali. Police said that over 52,000 people took part in the protests across the nation.
Colombia looks worse every day. This president and his government are governing with hate. You can see the hatred for everything. The Colombian people can't take it anymore.
Leftist President Petro was elected in the year 2022. He had more ambitious promises to fight poverty and inequality and end Colombia's 6 decades of internal conflict. The government's biggest proposals to increase reforms targeting health, pensions, labor system and education face stiff opposition in Congress and from the opposition. Petro has defended the reforms, arguing that they will benefit the country's poorest.
I am here against Petro's reforms of the pension and healthcare system. I have children who may not become military like me, but they expect more from their country. I expect more too, as a citizen.
Senegal will now vote for its new president on 24th of March. The announcement comes after days of protests on 2nd of June, but this date was rejected by the Constitutional Council on the grounds that it would be unconstitutional. The country's top court said that a general election cannot take place after President Sall's term ends. Sall's tenure as president is ending on 2nd of April. But last month, Sall plunged the entire country into a state of chaos, announcing that he is postponing the elections for 10 months. It triggered opposition protests and the president's opponents accused him of mounting a constitutional coup. But Sall denied that he was seeking to extend his term of office. Taking up the matter, the Constitutional Council ruled that the presidential election must take place before 2nd of April. Senegal has long been seen as one of the most stable democracies in the entirety of Africa. It is the only country in mainland West Africa that has never had a military coup. Meanwhile, Parliament also passed an amnesty law for crimes linked to the protests. The law potentially provides amnesty to hundreds of accused protesters and opposition members involved in anti-government protests over the past 3 years. Supporters say that it will benefit the opposition as it could pave the way for the release of leading opposition politician Ousmane Sonko and thousands of his supporters. And now let's take a look at other election-related developments from around the globe. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has won the backing of the centre-right European People's Party to head the bloc's powerful executive for another 5 years. The only candidate in the party's ballot, von der Leyen listed the war in Ukraine, the crisis in Gaza and the rise of China as the key challenges for the 27-nation European Union. Von der Leyen won with 400 votes in favour and 89 against. She is currently seen as a clear favourite to lead the Commission again. Disunity among Turkey's opposition parties has boosted President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's hopes that his AK party can regain control of Istanbul in this month's municipal elections. Now, this comes after his victory in last year's presidential vote. The outcome of the March 31st election in Istanbul is seen as key in deciding the political fate of its mayor. He has been long touted as a potential leader of the main opposition, CHP, and possibly a future president. Remember, Erdogan beat off a strong opposition challenges last May to win re-election as president, while the AKP and its allies secured another parliamentary majority. And with that, we're wrapping up this edition of Race to Power. Thanks for watching with me, Ananya Datta.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.